Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you here today to the second race of the OSRL series. I'm your host for today's broadcast, the Same Leader 13, as we're preparing to get underway for a 180-lap race here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, a 1.5-mile oval that's not been repaved since 2003. And gentlemen, this could end up being a very interesting race because just like last week, we are having a full lobby. Actually, it was a little bit above last week. 22 drivers are looking to take the green flag for today's event. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting run, to say the least. But from the bottom to the top, there's going to be several interesting things to take into consideration. TMS Stingray has pole position for this event. However, he has to serve a lap down penalty, so he will start this race a lap down at the start of the event, irregardless. So he will not actually be able to start from the pole position, but he does get the 5 points for taking the full pole position. Speaking of which, real quickly, even though we're only one race into it, when you also factor in the stages and you also factor in the duels and pole position, the point standings are not super easy to figure out right now. I'm going to go ahead and get them brought up real quickly here, so that way you can kind of figure out how they are right now. That's not points. Where's points? There's points. Alright, so after the end of the 350, this is how the point standings currently are. 22nd is TMS Bum Drop, he has 2 points. 21st is Prius Killer, he has 5 points. 20th is Oof Serena with 10. 19th is Bryant with 19 points. 18th is OTR Popping with 20 points. 17th is TFB Matter with 25. 16th is Tire Bearer with 30. 15th is FCT Racing with 35 points. 14th is TMS Stingray with 42 points. 13th is Tactical Fallout with 46 points. 12th is ZBop 360 with 55 points. 11th is SSR U5 AMVP has 59 points. 10th is Coco Gamer 11 with 61. 9th is Donald Prime 77 with 69 points. 8th is TMS Zip with 70 points. 7th is TJ111 with 80 points. 6th is Rockmar with 83 points. 5th is Raygun vs. Zombie with 85. 4th is Aerocobe with 98 points, and he is in a direct tie with Lucas Speed, who also has 98 points. 2nd is OTR Anonyms with 100 points, and your current points leader is SRG Shredder with 115 points. When it comes down to it, real quickly, want to stage breaks there will be 2 stages for a race, but again, normal thing for this series. There will be no yellow flags. You just hit the end of the stage and you just keep racing regardless. The end of stage 1 will be at lap 52. The end of stage 2 will be on lap 102. And then that's obviously realistically it's 50. The first 2 laps of today's race will be run under the safety car conditions. So lap 52 and lap 102 will be the end of the first and second stage. Points will be given to the top 5 drivers, and they'll just keep racing. No need for force yellow flags if it's not necessary. This race has seen a lot of interesting winners in the past. However, today it could be very interesting because we have more cars on track now than ever before at one of these Miami Oval races. With that in mind, lap traffic will actually play a much larger role than normal, and we've seen lap traffic catch drivers off guard and end up compromising their runs. You end up caught in someone else's aerodynamic wake going through the corners, or you get a good enough draft down the straight that you enter a corner at higher speed than what you're used to. It can absolutely ruin a lap and totally upset your momentum and your rhythm running around here. So you are getting word that one of the drivers have to deal with a very short restart for their Xbox. Apparently it was an Xbox issue, so they're going to wait just a little bit for him to get that restart and then get him back into the event. Real quickly, as you look through some of the drivers, Prius Killer, he is in that number 76 OCal Chevrolet. TMS Stingray, who's 1 pole but will have to start this race a lap down. He is in that number 1 Goodyear Ford. Apex Blade A7 is in that number A7 Monster Energy Ford. Down Prime 77 is in the Target-sponsored number 77 Chevrolet. Bryant is in the number 32 Ford Performance Ford Fusion. Xebot 360 is in the number 88 Diet Mountain Dew Ford. Raygun vs. Zombie is in the Femboy Hooters number 5. So for those of you, I guess, who are of a more unique variety, Femboy Hooters caters to you. SSR U5 AMVP is in that number 54 Mobile One Toyota's machine. Rockmara is in the number 24 DuPont Chevy, almost direct throwback to Jeff Gordon's paint scheme that he ran in the mid to late 90s. Ludicrous Speed, once again, is in the number 20 Home Depot Chevrolet. TFB Matter is in the number 19 Red Bull Toyota. Absolutely love that. It's such a fascinating, eye-popping scheme. Aidman 2005 is finally back after missing last week's Daytona race. He is in the number 13 Safety Clean Chevrolet. TMS Derp is running the number 33 Oreo Ritz Chevrolet. OTR Popping is in the number 11 Krispy Kreme Ford Fusion. Uber Nuts is in the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet. The Tire Barrier is in the 00 FedEx Toyota. Tactical Fallout is in the Mahindra Tractor's number 14 Ford Fusion. FCT Racing is in the number 25 GoPro Ford. TTJ 111 is in the number 78 DeWalt Chevrolet. AeroCobe is in the number 22 Pennzoil Ford Fusion. SRD Shredder, winner of last week's Daytona 350, is in the number 10 Kobayashi's Dragon-made Ford Fusion. And our pace car for today, like it was last week, will be Icky 1975 in the Chevrolet Camaro. We do want to say thank you to Icky 1975 for being willing to put the effort out and running as the pace car for these events. It is highly appreciated. As we're staying by right now, waiting for the last driver, that would be OTR, to get back into the lobby here. Waiting on OTR Anonyms, who had a top 3 finish, coming home second last week at Daytona. If he is not able... Oh, I've just got kicked out. What the heck? Okay, cool. Thank you. I absolutely wanted to get kicked out. Yep. Did the entire lobby just crash? It seems like the lobby may have just crashed, actually. Yep. Yeah, I think the entire lobby just crashed. Well, I'll have to wait until we get a new invite then. Yep, alright. Well, in that case, I just have to reset my game and hope that it'll work. So, for those of you watching, please stand by. The broadcast will pick right back up shortly, but I need to reset my game because this game is still not esports ready, despite the fact that it's almost 5 years old now.
Forza straight shit in the bed. Just about everybody DC'd before we could get going, so we're totally restarting the lobby. We'll probably get going anywhere between 6:40 and 6:45.
Yep. So, yep, official word is that the entire game did completely collapse. For those of you who are watching, I am sorry for that hiccup, but this game continues to have some issues and some headaches going forward right now.
Special vendors here. They always got amazing deals.
Just gotta wait right now for them to go ahead and give us an invite to the next lobby when they get it properly reset. There we are. There we are. Now we're getting in there. Well, for OTR Anonyms, this is actually good news because he was able to do a complete game and console reset before the lobby shut down, so he should be here now without an issue. Yeah, it seems like they got almost everyone back in here relatively quickly. Christ alive, already 22 of the 24 of us are back. Drivers are already readying up a bit here. Yes, and I still have paint schemes as well. Thank you so much. Alright, so we still have paint schemes at least. Sweet. Alright, so now we just wait for the officials, Ludicrous Speed and Rock Marl, to get the grid reordered back the way it was after qualifying, and then we'll get back underway for the race. Again, we must apologize for this extended wait as Forza servers continue to be a little bit on the unstable side. Just waiting to get underway for the event. Alright, we should be getting underway here in about 5 or so minutes time. Everyone's already back into the lobby here. And the lobby is already built up. They've got the race length already set as well, so excuse me, assuming they've not had any other issues, should work pretty well here. Alright, everyone's ready up. So with that in mind, we should be going very shortly here. Oh, almost everyone. OTR popping is not readied up yet for whatever reason. Come on, let's get going. Everyone's readied up. Why are we not going yet? I don't know why we're not going yet. Come on, let's go, boys. We're just staying by waiting for this extended delay to fix itself so we can get underway for the race itself here. Don't know what the holdup is at the moment. There we are. Now we're preparing to get underway. 22 drivers will be taking the green flag here for today. Oh, Jesus Christ, that is a full grid. 22 drivers will be taking the grid for today's event with TMS Stingray having to serve his lap down penalty. He will not be able to lead the field to the green flag. With that in mind, it means that Bryant and Dino Prime get the ability to decide which side of the track they're going to be starting today's event on. A little bit of movement right away. The pace car is going to go real quickly and move aside various caution cones and safety cones that are put at the pit lane entry and exit points. Those are not the cones you need to take care of, Vicky. Alright, well, while he does that, we're going to go ahead real quickly and run you through the entire grid from the back to the front. I'm going to use the helicopter camera so you can actually see the cars a bit better. Dead last will be the 76 car of Unical, the Union Unical 76, but he is going to be serving a lap down penalty. Then he is also going to be serving that penalty along with this man here, TMS Stingray. Tactical File also is going to be serving a penalty here near the back of the grid, as will FCT Racing as well. Then you get to Raygun versus Zombie. Now we start getting into the drivers where they're actually supposed to be starting this event at. This is Aero Cobe. He's going to be just ahead of him in the blue and white Deuce. Then you have TTJ 111, TJ in that number 78 machine. Tire Barrier in the 00 FedEx Toyota. Then ahead of them you have Uber Nuts. He is going to be taking the green in the number 8 Budweiser machine. OTR Anonyms is going to be just ahead in the number 80, although at some angles it looks like 08 Ford machine. Then it's going to be OTR Popping. Anonyms took home second last week, so this will be a good chance for him to maybe put together a championship fight. This is OTR Popping. He'll be starting 13th. 12th will be TMS Derp in number 33 Oreo Ritz machine. 11th will be Aidenman 2005. Actually, 10th will be Aidenman 2005. 9th will be TFB Matter there in the number 19 Red Bull machine. Then you come up to 8th. That will be Ludicrous Speed in the number 20 Home Depot Chevrolet. 7th will be Rock Morrow in that number 24 Jeff Gordon Throwback DuPont machine. Then you'll have SSR U5 AVMP, who will be in the Mobile 1 Toyota. In the 5th position is your current points leader and last week's race winner, SRD Shredder in that number 10 Dragon Maid Ford. Then in 4th will be Exebot 360 in the number 88 Mountain Dew machine. Third will be Apex Blade in the number 87 Monster Energy machine. Second will be Dino Prime 77, and it looks like he has the inside line that he'll be able to start on, so he'll be very happy with that, to say the least. And then first starting not officially on the pole, but realistically on the pole, will be Bryant. Again, the actual winner of the pole position, TMS Stingray. He does get the 5 points for pole position. However, he will be serving penalty, so he has already chosen to line up at the back of the grid for today's event. This is your pace car coming around now, getting ready to pick up the field for the green flag. There we are. 2 laps under the safety car to start this. That will give everyone enough time to get the tires warmed up. And on the final of those 2 laps, everyone who is serving a penalty for either starting in the pit lane or starting a lap down will serve that penalty on that second pace lap. For right now, though, everyone is just here trying to get their tires properly warmed up. Right now, Icky 1975 classed as the race leader, considering that as the pace car, he's already gone ahead and completed an entire lap. So it will be a few laps until we actually get to see what the proper grid order is going to be. But right now, Icky 1975 in the pace car is going to unofficially lead the first lap of the event. So congratulations on that point, I guess. Now the field is going to begin doubling up. Bryant will hold the inside line. Dino Prime will be holding the outside line. Apex will have the inside as well. Watching the inside line, it normally can get a very good run into turn 1, but then it's also very easy for them to start losing grip in turn 2 once the speeds really start accelerating. It's full throttle from green flag all the way into turn 3. You can take turns 1 and 2 full throttle on the initial acceleration, but navigating turn 2 full throttle as everything is rapidly increasing in speed is a little bit more difficult to do. As we change our camera focus just a little bit so we can get a better view of the field. There you can see the entire grid lined up. Icky 1975 will pull the pace car off, coming out of the final corner. Now, in the race itself, you are not allowed to just dive off of turn 4 to serve your pit stop. That little infield lane there that you can see 2 drivers taking their penalty on, one of them being TMS Stingray, you are required to pit and in and pit exit using those lanes as we're coming to the green flag now. Bryant and Dino Prime lead the field to the green flag here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And right off the bat, it looks like Bryant has a good run. Apex Blade is going to hold it side by side with that 77 Target Chevrolet going through 1. He actually sets up wide. That means Dino has to go up wide as well. Dino's going to fall back to about the 5th position very quickly here. 3 wide almost for second. At the front, though, it is Bryant, who has already opened up a small gap on the rest of the grid. As they come out 3 and 4 wide near the mid part of the field, the top 3 have already opened up a gap on everyone else. TFB Matter up into the wall farther back in the field. Trying to deal a bit with running in extreme heavy traffic. It's really hard to find a proper groove or proper racing line in a scenario like this. Everyone's just trying to get by and make any position up they can. A little bit of contact between that Krispy Kreme machine and the Red Bull machine. There's so much sugar in that battle alone that you're almost guaranteed to be going to the hospital by the age of 29 with that. Ada Man trying to hold on the outside of Ludicrous Speed. There's Ludicrous, gets really sideways. He will hold that position just ahead of this fight between... they get 3 wides. Rockmar throws it up on the inside. Matter cannot keep it together. He drifts high into the outside wall, and there goes SRD Shredder spinning up behind them. And there's 3, 4 cars, and there's a massive multi-car incident near the back of the grid. Caution will be out now, for sure. And for Prius Killer and TMS Stingray, this is great news because they will get a chance to get back onto the lead lap of this event. They'll be able to get a chance at least to make up the lap that they back up the lap that they started down for this race. But for Bryant, a little bit of frustration because the entire field was starting to spread out and it was looking like he might be able to pull away. Now we see Prius Killer coming into the pit lane there. Not sure what his goal is. Oh, okay, he was taking the extreme inside to get on the lead lap. Okay, never mind. I guess that makes a bit more sense. So the lap down drivers will go ahead and bunch up at the back of the grid on the lead lap. So that penalty has basically now been served right at the start, and they can try and make their way up through the field. But a pair of Fords lead a Chevy here on lap 5. It says lap 7, but realistically lap 5 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Entire field single file at the moment. We should see them doubling up in another lap or two to go green. Choose cone rule is in effect. Drivers get to choose whatever lane they want to restart in. We'll likely see them do that on the back straightaway. And there we are. Everyone's now beginning to double up. Dino Prime wants the inside. Apex Blade wants the outside. So Dino now holding the line that he prefers here. Alright, nearly everyone's doubled up all the way back through the field. Now near the very rear of the grid, it's a little bit more interesting because you look back here, TMS Stingray, he is choosing the inside line, but some of the drivers on the outside, like OTR Anims, they're just there because they want to get those extra few positions. So we're not, so the choose cone rule really has more of an effect on the upper and middle field of the race. Not so much of an effect at the back of the grid where people are just trying to make up any spots they can. We'll see Icky 1975 pull the pace car off here, and we'll go green flag here. And we're underway once again at Miami. Bryant again with a very good run into turn 1. Immediately opens the gap on Apex. Apex is going to try and cut down in front of Dial Prime 77. Makes it work, but there's someone sideways farther back. That's SSR sideways into the wall at near the back of the grid already. He's still spinning as he hits the inside wall. And Raygun, oh, hard into the inside wall for Raygun versus Zombie. Adaman 2005 also caught up in the melee. So a multi-car accident right on the start, on that restart there. And we are back under yellow almost immediately. Dino Prime, though, ends up maintaining second in all of that. Picks up second, I should say, in all of that. And the field's going to be caught back together relatively quickly, so this should be a very short yellow flag period. Dino Prime, does he choose the inside lane or outside lane? The answer seems to be that he wants to have the inside. Bryant seems to be looking at maybe choosing the outside lane. What in the world is going on? Why are they waiting so long to double up? Everyone is there. There we are. Now we're doubling up. So now Dino Prime chooses the outside line. Bryant chooses the inside line. Not been able to get more than about 4 laps under race conditions thus far today, though. Are still relatively early in the event, but... Alright, pace car comes off, and as they come to the green flag once again, Bryant, Dino lead the field to the green here at Miami. This time Apex gets a great jump, but Dino's right there, and there's not really anywhere that Apex can go. Dino's going to fall in line in second behind Bryant. Farther back, they're already 3 and 4 wide, but it looks like they're going to be able to navigate the corner without too much issue this time. Xebot trying to make it 3 wide for a second position. Dino Prime in the middle. Will he be able to make it stick? I don't think so. There's just way too many cars there. They're in the outside wall. And there's a big one. The big one. And already 2 cars up into the air. And it's a big multi-car accident on this restart. And the drivers who were running in second, third, and fourth got into it. Fifth place was faster than them all, tapped the inside line to the outside, and for most of the field, there was nowhere to go. Aggravation and frustration becomes the name of the game, and for this man here, TMS Derp, he must feel like $1 million because he's now second. Look at third place. That is TMS Stingray, who had the pole, couldn't start there, had to start a lap down. Now all of a sudden he's third in this event. Well, that completely randomized the grid order. And we're likely not going to go green until about lap 14 by the looks of it. No one pits under the safety car. Again, if you pit under safety car conditions, you are required to pit again as the field comes to the green flag. What in the world? Okay, I guess we're going green with single file restart. That's not going to help anything. There's still going to be wrecking, Alan. But we're green underway. Now Stingray goes to the outside. Easily leapfrogs past TMS Derp. Rockmaro is there looking to take an extreme outside line. And now Rockmaro dumps to the inside. Stingray, Rockmaro side by side for third. It looks like Stingray gets the position, gets a little bit sideways from Rockmaro. Very nearly get into it again, going into 3. Oh, Stingray just went right off the inside of Rock. See, he's holding the position, but not well. And we're under the yellow flag again for another instant, this one near the back of the grid. So the field lines up single file once more. I guess we're back to doing the single file stuff, even though the rules in the Discord specifically said that wasn't going to happen. But I guess we're back to doing that now, and someone's just gotten spun back there in the background. That looked like Dino Prime in the Target Chevrolet, but I can't verify that. Pace car opening up a gap on the grid, so we're probably going to go green this time by. Yep, Bryant's going to lead them to the green once more. Not been able to get very many laps in whatsoever. TMS Derp, TMS Stingray second and third. What can they do against Bryant, who started up front and has led every lap thus far today? Rockmaro in fourth immediately sucks up right behind Stingray. Going to take a little bit wider exit. Single file throughout the top 7 positions. Now tactical fallout a little bit farther back. Looks to the inside, but won't commit to anything. Now the field's fanning out a little bit more wide, farther back in the grid. But the top 6 all seem to be pretty much single file right now. As you're right on board with Rock, who's in 4th position. Prius Killer, OTR popping side by side for a 6th spot a little bit farther back on the grid. Now Tactical Fallout lunges to the inside of Rockmaro, but cannot make anything stick. He actually ends up having to give up position back there. There's still 3 wide in the back of the field. You can see it there. One guy gets onto the apron, but they stay green. Now Tactical Fallout washes way up the circuit and into the outside wall. You get caught in that outside wall, it just drags your momentum straight down. Stingray's caught behind Derp. Rockmaro trying to figure out a way by both of them. Now Derp lunges up high. He's going to hit the outside wall. No, he just barely stays off the outside wall. But now Stingray might have a shot on the inside. Rockmaro's looking to the outside. Side by side for 2nd position. And Stingray just is struggling to keep it in the apex. But then on exit, he seems to be willing and able to get onto the throttle a little bit faster than his teammate. Rockmaro is there. Now he's going to try and make an outside pass happen on that Goodyear-sponsored Ford. Chevrolet outside, Ford inside. The Chevy has a draft off of TMS Derp's machine down the straightaways, and that will be enough to let Rockmaro slot in front of Stingray. They're 3 wide farther back. Rockmaro tried to get beneath Derp, but could not make it stick. Now Stingray gets to come fighting back. As farther back, Raygun versus Zombie is going to break ahead partially of this little group of cars. Popping is there. Tactical Fallout is there, though. Popping right into the outside wall. He'll keep it straight, but will lose a lot of speed in the process, and will drop him out of the top 10. Raygun now holds on to 5th, as Tactical Fallout and SSR U5 end up fighting side by side behind him. Now Rockmaro's up to the outside wall, and that's going to drop speed off of him, and that lets both of the TMS drivers get back ahead, as Bryant is now walking off with the lead of this race right now. Side by side once again, up ahead of Raygun. He's right on board with Raygun as he watches this 3-way fight continue for 2nd spot. Stingray and Rock both have a little bit of a tire smoke, throwing the car in to turn 3, but Rock has the better line through 3 and 4 that time, actually has the momentum going down straight. Derp takes a much wider line, and in the process what he's doing, he's actually taking air off of Stingray's bumper in the apex of the corner and then benefiting whoever is on the outside on corner X, assuming that the man on the outside isn't right up against the wall. Ooh, Stingray runs Rock right down to the white line, and now here comes Raygun. He's faster than everyone in this fight. He now goes to the inside of Rockmaro. Side by side, going into 1 and 2 now. These two have kind of broken away from the drivers farther back. Number 5, number 24. These car numbers are actually teammates in real life. And Rock is into the outside wall. Oh, and Derp's in there. And now that's going to cause a bunch of chaos farther back in the grid. Most of the field looks like they got by it without too much issue, but for whatever reason, one of the drivers who were in the top 3 ended up into the outside wall. Tire Bear has come into the pit lane, so he's probably trying to do some strategy shenanigans to get nearer to the front. Again, this first stage will end on lap 52, so there should only be 1 pit stop in the middle of that sequence. As we look on board with Dino Prime 49%, so he's gone through about half of his fuel thus far. So yeah, everyone will have to make 1 stop, mathematically speaking, in this first stage. So Tire Barrier just trying to take his now to get ahead of the rest of the field. A little bit farther up, this is TJ111 here in that Chevy. Leading a small pack, that's Derp, who had gotten into the outside wall. But everyone kept it straight after that happened. But Derp now has fallen well down the order, and this has also meant that at the front, while it is still Bryant who is holding a nice steady gap between himself and the rest of the grid. Look at how big that gap has become. It is now Raygun versus Zombie who leads everyone from 2nd on back. TMS Stingray and SSR now trying to close in on the Finboy Hooters machine. I can't believe I am actually saying that. Stingray now within drafting range of Raygun. But again, it's not like Daytona where you want to stay on the draft around the entire circuit. Aerodynamic wake really can upset your car going through the corners. You want to have draft on the straights, but you want to be on a slightly alternate line, ideally, going through the corners. Now, Raygun is taking a wider line going through turns 1, 2, and 3, and 4. He's not hugging that white line on the inside. Stingray has taken an even wider line in 3 and 4, but it seems to be a little bit tighter on 1 and 2. He's just trying to keep clean air on the nose of that car right now. Now Tactical Fall is back there in 6th position. He's starting to close up, trying to make something happen as well. That's Prius Killer, who is there in the 5th spot, trying to keep Tactical Fallout behind him right now. Prius, another driver who's recovered from the early race, the star race penalty. He's now up there in the top 5 positions. Gained draft off of SSR and having a word off Tactical right now as the top 6, well, 2nd through 6th, all stay in a line as Brian continues to open up his massive gap over the rest of the grid. Apex played a little bit farther back, nearly out into the outside wall while fighting with Shredder. And now Rockmar is going to pounce and will sweep to his inside. So a preferred lane of choice seems to have developed, and it's kind of a middle lane around the circuit. No one seems to want to take the extreme inside. No one seems to want to take the extreme outside unless they absolutely have to. It seems like a middle lane is the ideal lane of choice around here. Now, there are a few exceptions. Stingray seems to be experimenting now with a more extreme interior line, almost right against that inside. But everyone is pretty much single file throughout the entire grid. And the gap between 1st and 2nd is 3.8 seconds at the moment. So for Bryant, who didn't get the pole but ended up starting the pole due to the way that penalties worked out, he's walking off with this race lead right now. And it seems very likely that no one's going to be able to overtake him or pass him. Apex gets right on Rockmaro's bumper there. Not able to do anything. Rock takes an alternate line compared to Shredder. Farther back, though, they're really stacking it up. Multi-cars wide there as we follow Matter right now in the middle of this pack. Ryan from the drone cam. 3 wide as they come down the back straightaway here. Popping, Uber Nuts, Anonymous, Dino Prime. Most of these drivers were near the front earlier, but got caught up in that last really large crash, and they've kind of been stuck in the midfield or back of the grid most of the day since. Now they're all just trying to get away from each other, try to get some clean air so they can set some fast laps and move up to the grid. The problem with that, though, is that, well, quite simply, they're all trying to do the same thing. They're all just kind of slowing each other down. It's not like Daytona where, you know, you get a large group of guys together and they'll all go faster. Here, the larger the group is, the slower you're going to go because you're going to be compromising each other so much in the corners. So right on board with Matter. Battles simmered down just a little bit here, but as I say that, OTR popping into the outside wall, X-Team 2, and now Dino Prime looks like he's going to go ahead and will make the his first pit stop of the day. There are 2 other drivers, that's Raygun versus Zombie and SSR, so 2 drivers who are near the front. They're also making stops, so a lot of people now looking and considering, okay, well, what do I have to do when it comes to fuel to be in a good position near the end of this stage? Aidenman also coming out onto the off of pit lane. Now that's TMS Derp in the outside, and OTR popping takes with them. They're both underway. They're able to get away with it without issue. But it's not looking good for them, as that will be very crucial time that they're going to lose. So fuel now an issue as we see more and more drivers peeling off. About everyone from 18th on back now a lap down at this point in the event. Dino Prime, who is a lap down, now caught racing with other people on a different lap than him. That's not going to help him out whatsoever. As we follow OTR popping around. FCT Racing, he's in the middle of this little fight as well, and he is caught behind the lapped car of Raygun versus Zombie. And we're seeing more and more drivers coming down pit lane just to try and get their stop done. Thing is, pit lane entry and exit is so long here, you're going to go a lap down. There's really no way around it. TJ's now going to come into the pit lane as well. You can see him pitting farther back there. But at the front, it is now Tactical Fallout, as Bryant has already made his stop. And for Bryant, this is looking relatively good for him. He completed his stop. He stayed on the lead lap, just barely. So when everyone ahead of him does eventually pit, he should re-inherit the lead. Already, he's back up to 12th position. The current leader, Tactical Fallout, is back there a bit behind him. Now, Aerocobe, who is in 11th, came home 3rd last week at Daytona. He is in pit lane right now, so Bryant will overtake him here. And Bryant's really been fortunate not had to deal with any real traffic for most of the day. Again, the end of lap 52, the top 5 drivers at that point will earn stage points. As we see more and more people coming into pit lane. Now Prius Killer is coming in. FCT Racing, he's now coming to the pits as well. Bryant, though, is there. He has a draft off of Tire Barrier. And will have to navigate lap traffic. And Tire Barrier is not exactly unbearably slow. He's been caught in incidents. Apex Blade, now your current race leader. SRG Shredder has popped out in what will probably be 2nd position behind Bryant at the moment. As OTR popping and TMS Derp and Rock Marvel. In fact, it looks like almost everyone who is ahead of Bryant except for your current leader is pitted. And as I say that, now Tire Bear is into the outside wall. Bryant will take that advantage and swing by him. Your leader is in. And Bryant now is anticipated to inherit the race lead very shortly here. Ubernuts and Apex Blade, the last drivers to make the first stop of the day. And for Bryant, how far is he going to be ahead of the rest of the field? Shredder is already 6 seconds behind him. And now Bryant's by Apex Blade. Apex Blade already on the run out of pit lane, but again, it's a long exit as well. Shredder gets by Ubernuts. He's by Apex Blade. Shredder inherits 2nd. But he is 6 seconds out from this man right now. It's been lonely at the top for this driver. So at this point, things are going to get really interesting because there's a lot of variety, a lot of almost randomness, it seems, when it comes to the exact lap time that drivers did choose to pit. The field's gotten relatively spread out and then kind of gathered all back together afterwards. The one constant, though, the Tire Barrier is 1 lap down at this point in the event. Apex Blade currently running behind Rockmar on track with Raygun vs. Zombie behind him as well. As Ludicrous Speed farther up, fighting with Xebot for the 6th position. Well, it's more like Ludicrous just holding the line and Xebot's trying to poke around, see if there are any weaknesses that can be easily seen. But the race leader, Bryant, has opened up a massive gap on everyone else at the moment. The real fight seemed to basically be everywhere from 2nd on back. And even with that, Shredder is starting to open a small gap on Tactical Fallout at this point in the event. TMS Stingray, who worked his way as high as 2nd at one point in the event, he is hanging out in 5th behind SSR, U5 AVMP, and that number 1 Goodyear machine. You see Apex Blade trying to make something happen a little bit farther back there. Meanwhile, near the back of the grid, FCT Racing there in the 20th position. He has Matter behind him and Ubernuts ahead of him. These 3 drivers will be the next one to possibly go a lap down, especially if they end up holding each other up way too much. Well, that was interesting there. Matter really running FCT near that wall, really runs him up against the outside wall, but now FCT Racing gets a draft off of Ubernuts going down the straight, going to the following corner, and they're both going to get sideways, and it looks like they just barely save it. They should not have been able to save it, but they did somehow. Matter recovered a little bit faster than FCT did, and now Matter is already making a charge against Ubernuts, easily overtakes him. It's clean air ahead for Matter for a good distance. In fact, looking at it, it's like about 3 seconds of clean air. So Matter, if he can stay ahead, he'll be able to just click off some nice, solid, consistent laps. 18th place, this is OTR Popping. He is behind his teammate OTR Anonyms. TMS Derp is currently running the 16th after running as high as 2nd himself as well. Derp is caught behind Aiden Man on the track right now. We are nearly at the end of the stage. As we look at the front one more time, Bryant easily is going to walk off with this stage win unless he makes a mistake. 7.5 second gap over this man in second, SRD Shredder. But Shredder will be gladly looking to add on to his point total. Third place, Tactical Fallout. He is looking relatively strong. Fourth is SSR U5 AVMP. That's looking decent for him. Fifth, TMS Stingray, who took home pole position. It looks like he will get not only the 5 points for pole, but he is positioning himself to get an extra point for coming home fifth at the end of the first stage, which will be at the end of lap 52. So complete this lap and 2 more laps, and we'll see what it's like. That's ludicrous speed, a little bit farther back. If something happens to one of these drivers, he will capitalize and probably pick up the position. But again, right now, everyone here is just kind of single file. No one's in a great position to start fighting for their spots. As we're under a long green flag run at this point in the event, the field's relatively well spread out. As we look at the map one more time, only one driver a lap down at this point in the event. So after a lot of chaos early on, a long green flag run has now come to characterize the race. SSR fighting with Tactical Fallout. He wants the points for third. Whoever's in front at the end of this lap will get 3 bonus points. Well, between these, they'll get 3 bonus points. So this is a fight for points position. Both these drivers think they could have an outside shot at the title, although SSR says that he'll likely be missing races later in the season. There we are. So Bryant crosses the line. He will get the 5. Shredder gets the 4 for coming home second. For third, there's your answer. Tactical Fallout will hold on to it, as now they have to navigate the lap traffic of Tire Bear. Tire goes right against the outside wall, and he's actually grinding against it. It's just not been a good day for Tire Barrier right now. In the world, did something happen to Bryant? Yes, something's happened to Bryant. Something has gone wrong for Bryant. He has lost a bunch of time, a bunch of pace, and all of a sudden he is no longer leading this race. What in the world happened? Oh, and there's a spin! Multi-car instant further back in the grid. Oh, and that's Rockborough and Tire Barrier both gotten into it. So lap traffic causes a multi-car incident, and that's it. We are back under the safety car, and that happened just after Bryant hit the wall as well. So now Bryant is going to fall all the way to 5th, and Shredder now is leading the race. This will be good news for Tire Barrier. He will get a chance to get back on the lead lap, but this will be likely a long yellow flag as well. Where's the safety car? Well, Bryant, who has led nearly every single lap thus far today, except for a few under green flag stops, now finds himself buried in the midfield, and things are going to get really interesting now. After a long green flag run and a set of green flag pit stops, already the field's starting to try and gather up. Oh, and Bryant is being given the lead back, apparently. Why? He had already lost the lead before the yellow flag fell. Okay, well, I'm not gonna argue with it, I guess. I'm not an official. I just broadcast. And there goes Tire Bear as he will go by to get back onto the lead lap now. So as we look real quickly at the varying fuel numbers near the front of the grid. Bryant, who is currently leading, pitted a little earlier than some of these drivers. He at 52%. Shredder is at 47%. Third place, Tactical Fallout. He is running at 66%. Fourth is SSR. He is running with 49%. Fifth is TMS Stingray. Stingray is running with 64%. Sixth is Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous is running with 54%. Seventh is Xebot 360. Xebot is running with 58%. Eighth is Apex Blade. Blade is running with 68%. Ninth is Raygun vs. Zombie. He is running with 50% fuel. 10th, Dino Prime 77. He has 50% fuel. 11th, Prius Killer. He is currently running with 62% fuel. 12th is TJ. He has 55% fuel. 13th, Aero Cobe. He has 59% fuel. 14th is Aidman 2005. He has 51% fuel. TMS Derp, he is running with 65% fuel. OTR Anonyms is running, and it looks like, are we going green? We're going green with only single file, again, for whatever reason. I have no idea why, but we seem to be stuck with only doing single file restarts. Tactical Fallout gets a great jump on Shredder, and he dives to the inside. Ford versus Ford at the front of the grid right now. Ford's been the dominant manufacturer here at the race that in real life is normally sponsored by Ford. Stingray is a little bit sideways, a bit farther back. Now here comes SSR. He's got to run. They're 4 wide back there. They're 5 wide nearly back there. Lucas just barely holds on over Apex Blade. He is in 5th right now. Field's already gathered and bunched up into 2 and 3 wide. That's Stingray. He's sideways and saves it. They keep it together. They keep it straight going down into turn 1 now. That was actually really bloody tight. Here's Tactical Fallout looking, and there is no, that's Tire Barrier, I think. Yeah, I think that's Tire Barrier who's just come back onto the circuit. As Lucas Speed running in 6th, watching the battle for lead ahead of him. Tactical Fallout's in the outside wall, as is SSR. Ludicrous will say, thank you, I'll take those positions very kindly. Xebot dives to the inside, will do the same thing to SSR. Can't do the same thing to Tactical, though, but Tax is not quite as fast. They're going to be 3 wide for the 5th position coming out turn 2. Tac barely holds on to the spot. So Lucas Speed now finds himself 4th as Bryant now has to hold off Shredder. It's not like it was earlier where he had a nice large gap with the rest of the field. Shredder is now right there in position to put direct pressure on your race leader. Dino Prime has recovered from being involved in that large accident earlier. He is now up into the 8th spot, fine with Prius Killer for it, and he's also trying to work on Xebot for 7th. SSR, Tactical Fallout, Toyota versus Ford, fighting now for the 5th spot. Pretty close to single file for a front 4, while Tactical Fallout SSR's fighting continues to back the rest of the grid up. Oh, and Reagan! Oh, that's Shredder, and Shredder and Apex Ghost go into the outside wall. They'll save it, and Lucas Speed now goes up into 2nd. Oh, and Dino Prime's around in the back of the field, and there's a single car spin by the looks of it. No, 3, 4 other cars involved. And that all started when 2nd and 3rd got into the outside wall in 1 and 2, and when they merged back into the rest of the field, there just was no room for them to properly merge, and we are back under the yellow flag, and Dino Prime had worked his way up into the 8th position, now frustratingly finds himself back in the back of the grid once more. So back under the safety car. So the entire field's now gathered up. So I guess we're only doing single file restarts. That kind of sucks, but whatever. So Bryant back in the lead, but now it'll be this man here, Ludicrous Speed, behind him, trying to put pressure on him. We're about 40 laps away from the end of the second stage, so there's not really a lot of advantage to pitting right now if you want to try and go for stage points at the end of stage 2 at the moment. Bryant considers coming in, but will not. And I don't think we'll see anyone really coming in unless you're betting on a lot of yellow between now and the end of the second stage. Stage 2 will end when that ticker up there says 102 of 182, and it turns over to 103. Top 5 get points. And there we are. Yep, single file restart. Bryant holding the line on the outside as they go green flag. And Tactical Fallout with a great jump immediately overtakes SSR, tries to overtake Lucas Speed. Tactical Fallout's going to try and go right back where he left off earlier. Ahead, he goes right up into second. He might get called out for that later for jumping the restart, but it looked green and clean to me. Now Tactical Fallout already putting pressure on Bryant. Bryant has led the most laps thus far today. He's been dominant thus far today. And no one has really been able to overtake him on track unless it's under green flag stops or Bryant's made a mistake. But look at that gaggle of cars near the rear of the field, though. Three wide. This is just behind Raygun. There's 5 cars you can all throw a giant blanket over. I don't know how the world they kept it clean coming out of 2 there. Raygun outside, Dano Prime inside. Dano has to try and make his way back up through the grid for the second time today. Someone's in the outside wall farther up the field. Raygun holds on to the 16th spot for the moment. Dino on the inside. He wants to take 15th from him now. Now Raygun goes high. He taps the outside wall. Just taps it though. He's not grinding against it, so he's able to maintain most of his momentum. Now that's Uber Nuts, OTR Popping, Prius Killer, all trying to make something happen as well. Uber Nuts trying to stay behind Raygun. Can't make it stick. But Raygun ends up going a little bit wide into the corner. However, OTR Popping just not able to keep it together. Now Uber Nuts will be fighting with Popping for a 17th spot. Field starting to single file out a bit. Not really spread out that much, but they are starting to all single file out just a little bit. Prius Killer is still fighting back there with Uber Nuts. And it looks like he'll get it by holding the inside line. At the front, Tactical Fallout losing touch though with Bryant. No one has been able to touch Bryant all day today. That's SRG Shredder farther back trying to make something happen on Xebot. And SSR U5 is fighting with Xebot as well. So Shredder going to try and overtake 2 drivers as quickly as possible. Ludicrous Speed has now caught Tactical Fallout for second. So Tac gets a really good initial run on the green flag, but then just kind of starts to slowly drop pace and fall backwards afterwards. As Ludicrous now on the inside of Tactical Fallout for that second spot. Xebot lost the position to Shredder. Can't make it happen to SSR either. Tac holding the inside against Lucas Speed, but botches the corner. Will lose almost all his momentum. Now SSR comes to the inside. Now Shredder comes to the inside. And now here comes Xebot. Can he make it stick against Tactical Fallout? The answer, he's not quite there soon enough. And SSR is making a stop. And what that means is that we are going to now start to see green flag pit stops. We're 32 laps from the end of the stage. So yeah, green flag pit stops underway. Xebot now up there. Now Shredder dives himself into pit lane. He doesn't want to be pitting too late, apparently. Oh, but Shredder makes a mistake. He's into the grass. He's going to lose a bunch of time in the process. He should still be able to make it into pit lane. Hopefully. I hate navigating through this field sometimes. Yeah, Shredder does make it into... I hate trying to navigate with this game. It's one of those things that you don't realize it's a problem until you experience a better game. And then all of a sudden, once you experience a better game, you realize how poor it is here. But we are under the yellow flag, so apparently Shredder did go, slide off circuit, hit the wall, and we are now under the yellow flag, and this will get really interesting. This will put SSR back on the lead lap, and anyone who might want to consider it, we could see a bunch of drivers coming into pit lane as they go to the green flag. Again, you're not allowed to pit under the yellow flag unless you are already committed. You are, however... What in the Sam Hill? You are, however, allowed to come to the pit lane as the pace car pulls off. Pit road opens when they go green flag, so the field nearly all gathered up. Will anyone be pitting? So apparently pit road is still closed for the moment at least. There is a small advantage. Pitting coming to the green means you only lose about half the time that you would lose if you pitted under the yellow. Under normal green flag conditions. No one's pitting yet, though. And it looks like we're going to stay under caution for one more lap. But for SSR, this has been a huge benefit for him because he completed his stop and got a lap back. The lap you normally go down, he's got a lap back. So when everyone ahead of him pits, SSR is likely going to go into the lead of this race, assuming we don't see multiple yellow flags all together. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up the map here. As we focus on Ludicrous Speed, who is in second right now. Who in the lead group will pit as they come to the green flag? The green should be coming out this lap, so who will be pitting? We'll see them take the turn to the inside. 80Man 2005 is already committing by the looks of it. And here comes Ludicrous Speed in second. Bryant's staying out, though. Tactical Fall staying out. It's going to get interesting. The field's going to get really nice and spread out here. Yeah, this is going to get really weird because everyone who's staying out, they will have to pit, and they're going to lose a lot of time to these people who are pitting right now. That's a kerfluffle on pit lane. All right. So only about half the field will take the green here. Tactical Fall gets a great restart. And will not be able to get by Bryant, though. Bryant was waiting for it. He immediately defended the inside line. There's sideways behind him. FCT Racing sideways, trying to keep it together. And it looks like he will keep it together at the end. But this could be huge, though, because this is the perfect chance for one of these drivers farther back. I'm looking primarily at Ludicrous to potentially take the lead and the win of this second stage. If everyone here has to pit, which we are anticipating is the case, we are now basically seeing two different groups on the grid. But here's the real crazy thing. This group is going to catch on to the back of the group that just completed pitting. We're going to probably see some guys go a lap down very shortly here. Tactical Fallout right there. On the inside of Bryant, this runs side by side almost every corner now. Tac's actually gotten a small gap. TMS Derp is behind. They still are side by side. They run side by side for multiple laps. This is actually incredible. The first real fight that Bryant's had all day today. It does look like he's more confident with his car than Tac, but Tac has a quicker inside line and is really pinching Bryant on corner exit, almost trying to not necessarily run into the wall, but definitely pinching him. But now Tac finally falls in line behind Bryant. Tactical Fall gives Bryant a little bit of an arrow push into the corner. Now TMS Derp, though, does the same thing to Tactical Fallout, going into 4. Nose to tail for the top 3 positions. Tactical Fallout takes an alternate lane. It keeps clean air on the nose of the car, but he loses a bit of time to Bryant. So now we're seeing Bryant start to open up again from the rest of the field. No one has been able to match him today. Bryant's coming in and pitting, so he's now serving his stop. So that leaves Tactical Fallout now as your leader, and now we bring up the map. Bryant on pit lane right now and is going to likely go a lap down. And this is going to really shake up the field. And again, I think the big focus is going to have to be on SSR. He is currently in 5th position. He's already made his stop. Now we see Rockmar coming off circuit. SSR's already made his stop. So with that in mind, he'll likely end up winning this stage if there are no yellows between now and the end of lap 102. Oh, and Brian made a mistake coming off of pit lane. He's into the grass. Doesn't hit anything. They'll stay green. But that will compromise Bryant even more. Not able to properly gauge the speed. Tactical Fallout, your current leader, as he's closing on Prius, trying to put Prius a lap down. Prius, the last of the group that had pitted as they came to the green flag. Now we see Rockmar and Ubernuts coming out, but they are now a lap down. They were right there, part of this lead pack. This goes to show you how much time you lose. But for everyone here is still on track, they may not be going for end of stage 2 points. They may instead be trying to think long term and trying to position themselves well towards the end of the race itself. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth all on top of each other with the lap traffic in the form of tire barrier in the middle of the fight. But again, these drivers will be paying sooner rather than later. Here comes Tactical Fallout, and here comes the Ritz car. It's TMS Derp, so they're both coming in now. So now SRD Shredder takes the lead. SSR in second, right, still in the catbird seat. Raygun versus Zombie in third position, also has yet to make his stop. He's fine there with SSR. He wants to take second from him. Tire barrier acting like a little bit of a pick. Raygun sending it to the inside of SSR. So strategy's going to be able to play a big part. And while Bryant's dominated this race, it does not look like he's going to be winning at the end of this stage. Can anyone outside of SSR make it to the end on their current fuel load? The answer we're anticipating is no. As we see Tactical Fallout, he'll now come out into the circuit, but he's the lap down behind the lead group at the moment. Raygun running in second behind Shredder. SSR in third. And fourth is a long way back. To put things in perspective, how far back fourth is. Fourth is Ludicrous Speed, who was the first of everyone who pitted coming to the green flag. He is about 2/3 of a lap down. Him and Exeba, who is running in fifth, they're about 2/3 of a lap down to the current race leaders. Now, they will make some of that time up in a bit, but what? Who is that? TMS Stingray has had an incident, apparently. And he is now finally getting back underway. But he's had an incident coming to the pit road. I have to guess if maybe he made a mistake, misjudged, and ended up into the outside wall or something. Has he made his stop? You know, he's made a stop some time ago, and he was one of the guys who actually made a stop coming to the green flag. So again, I kind of wonder what happened to him. Well, either way, we now turn our focus once more. SSR has gotten back by Raygun for second. This is your current race leader, SRD Shredder. $59% left in the tank for Shredder. He was the cause of the last yellow flag, but he was allowed to also get back onto the lead lap, and he did complete the pit stop under yellow. So he might be able to leapfrog SSR. Raygun versus Zombie for him. 53% fuel, so he also has already made a stop. So everyone in the top three has the fuel to make it to the end. So Shredder, Raygun, and SSR all on a radically different strategy right now compared to the rest of the field. And safety car is coming out. And this is going to be a bit of a stack up here. But here's the thing. There are a lot of people who are a lap down and several people who aren't. This is a mess. A lot of drivers going to get back on the lead lap. And the advantage that these three drivers have are now invalidated. And when we go green, it's likely we're going to go green with less than 10 laps to go to the end of stage 2. Fourth place Ludicrous Speed now catches the rear of this grid. And yeah, everyone's going to get back on the lead lap pretty much. Interesting one to watch will be... Oh, wow, that was a stack up coming. But almost everyone's there now. The interesting one to watch is going to be this man here. Bryant, in 17th position right now. He's dominated most of this race, but now, due to when he decided to pit, although he has a little bit more fuel than a lot of the guys ahead of him, he's now stuck in the midfield. And we're going to see if Bryant's speed really is what he actually has, or if it's just that being first and having the clean air is that much more important here. As now last place is catches up to the back of the grid. So we'll be going green this lap with 11 to go in this stage. I'm sorry, 12 to go in this stage. Again, end of lap 102 is the end of the second stage. Top 5 at that point get the points. 5 for first, 4 for second, third for 3, 2 for fourth, and 1 for fifth. I didn't see anyone pitting near the back of the grid. SRD Shredder has won here before at Miami on the oval. Nope, we're staying under yellow flag for another lap, apparently. So we will be going green with 11 to go then. Also, when we complete this lap, we will be exactly halfway through this event, as TMS Stingray going by to get back on the lead lap now. Alright, we should see the pace car pull off here. SRD Shredder leading, SSR in second. As they come to the green flag, just over halfway, it will be an 11-lap shootout to the end of stage 2. Who's it gonna be? Raygun gets a good jump on SSR, does right to his inside. Ludicrous Speed's gonna try and follow. A bit of a split from the top 4 to the rest of the grid, and they go into 1. SSR caught on the outside line, is gonna lose that position to Raygun, might even lose it to Ludicrous Speed. Raygun looking now to go to the inside of Shredder as they dive into turn 3. Not close enough to get to Shredder, he still has to defend against SSR for a bit. Xeba is into the outside wall farther back there. Oh, and 2 cars barrel rolling back there. 2 cars into the fence. Wow. I only saw a brief glimpse of that, but that was huge looking. So the safety car immediately comes back out to try and pick up the field once more. And there we are. Icky's coming in, so we're going to go green here. Now it's just 8 laps to the end of the stage. Raygun immediately gets a good jump on Shredder. Looks to the inside of the number 10. Ford's fighting for the win for stage 2, and SSR and the Toyota could really upset things. Shredder slides up wide to block SSR, but that gives Raygun a good run. Raygun in the lead now, but Shredder has it trapped on the outside from SSR pushing him side by side for a lead. Shredder, Raygun fighting for position. SSR looking to try and make something happen. Raygun shoots ahead now. SSR to the inside of Shredder. Ludicrous Speed is still there as well. Apex Blade going into the outside wall. He'll keep it together though. He's losing a lot of speed, a lot of time back there, but he will keep it together by the looks of it. Shredder fighting with SSR for second spot. The top 3 really haven't changed for a while. Well, they've changed amongst themselves, but they've not lost any spots yet to anyone else. They've actually opened up a small gap on Matter, who is there in 4th now. Shredder giving SSR a push. Raygun leads. Now SSR dives to the inside of Raygun, but can't keep it together on the inside. That's Matter and Aiden Man behind in 4th and 5th. And they're 3 wide for his 6th position as OTR Anonyms is trying to get by him. Oh, Raygun goes up into the outside wall, and he's taken with SSR! And Shredder now goes up front, and on Anonymous and Ludicrous Speed going to the inside wall. They're staying green for the moment, appears. So yeah, apparently we're staying green. So a 2-car incident, but they stay green. And now Aiden Man has worked his way up into 2nd. The defending GNS Series champion now in 2nd spot, and we are green still. Does Aiden Man have anything for Ludicrous, for SRD Shredder, or is Shredder going to walk out here with a stage win and add to his points lead? And Bryant has worked his way up through the grid quite a well. He is now already into the 4th spot, just ahead of Raygun. Raygun, who was in position to potentially win that stage, has now been dropped to 5th. Might even lose that to either TJ or Matter behind him. Ooh, they're sideways back there. That's Matter, who very nearly spun out, but he saved it. But will lose a position to TJ. And FCT Racing, there's a 2-3 car incident. That's Lucas Speed and FCT Racing having an accident there on the back straightaway. Yellow flag is out. And depending on how long this lasts, we either will end the stage just as they come to the green flag, or we will end the stage 1 lap into the restart. Shredder now leads with Aiden Man 2nd, 3rd, SSR still in play. 4th is Brian, who's dominated the race and cut right up from 17th to 4th in the span of about 11 laps. 5th is Raygun vs. Zombie, who was looking to win the stage earlier until he got into it with SSR. No one's looking to come down pit lane yet. Will they go green flag this lap? If they go green flag this lap, it will be a 2-lap shootout to the end of the stage. Unlike the end of the race, there is no requirement, though, that we stay green to a stage end. So that is a possibility that, no, it looks like there will only be a 1-lap shootout as Icky is going to stay out. So the pace car stays out for 1 more lap here at Miami. And it will be a 1-lap shootout to the end of the stage. Shredder is probably in the best scenario, being the leader. He dictates the pace to the line, but Aiden Man has... there are a lot of people behind who have been really good on restart. Shredder is not one of them. If Aiden gets alongside the 10 and pushes him a little wide into 1 and 2, Aiden could steal a stage win or open the door for someone like SSR or Brian to sneak up and take the spot. Also, does anyone pit coming to the green flag? You could go ahead and pit coming to the green flag, be willing to throw away a shot at stage points if it means that you think you're being a better position towards the end. I am seeing, it looks like one guy near the back of the field coming in, but he seems to be alone back there. Two guys near the back of the grid will be coming in, so they'll be on an alternate fuel strategy compared to the leaders. As we come to the green flag. 1 lap shootout to the end of stage 2. 5 points up for grabs. Who's it gonna be? Actually, it's 15 if you want to add it all together. All right, here comes Aiden to the inside of Shredder. Neck and neck. Aiden just barely ahead of Shredder. He might be able to steal it from him. Shredder loses the lead to Aiden Man. Now Shredder fights back on the outside. Prius Killer is fighting for position as well. Aiden, Shredder, neck and neck for a stage win. Less than half a mile to go as they go through 3 and 4. Aiden slide ahead. Here comes Brian. Here comes SSR. And it's going to be a bunch of guys coming across the line. It looks like Prius is going to get it 5th. SSR got 3rd. Brian 4th. Then Aiden Man barely wins the stage by the smallest of margins. Incredible! And now is the race to the end of the race itself. All track position and strategy now is dictated as to, hey, where can I be in the best position for the final run to the end of this race? Bryant fighting with SSR a little bit farther back there. As Bryant and SSR both close in, Aiden is actually losing a bit of ground now to Shredder. Oh, Christ! Shredder on the outside looks like he's going to be able to stick it on him. Aiden's a bit faster coming out of the apex, though. Oh, and pace car and yellow flag. Christ, I don't know what happened there. So Shredder will be leading now as we are back under the yellow flag. Bryant has now worked his way up into 3rd position. And it seems almost inevitable that he will get by these two and will likely be able to walk off with the lead. But the question now is all about what does the fuel strategy to the end of this race look like? It's still a little less than 80 laps to go. And we seem to be able to go about 30 to 35 laps on a tank. With that in mind, I'm thinking we're looking at 2. If everyone was to stop now, they'd still need to make 2 more stops. So I think everyone is at about 2 to 3 more stops between now and the end of this race. For Shredder, who has not been in pit lane for a while, he is at 29% fuel. Aiden Man, though, is a little bit different story for him, 30%. Behind him, Bryant, 41% fuel. SSR, who is in 4th, 25%, 5th Prius Killer, 33%. So this could get really interesting real quickly as TMS Derp is coming down pit lane. And Bryant is coming down as well. And I also see, I believe that's Raygun, I think, who's coming down near the back of the grid there. So yeah, about 4 guys coming into the pits, coming to the green flag. So again, the field's really going to get upset. We have no idea who's going to be where shortly here. Dino Prime, one of the other drivers to come in. Green flag underway. TJ gets a jump on Prius. Prius kind of held out on the outside. Can't really do anything as Aiden again on the inside of Shredder. Really dueling it out with him down the straights. Aiden said before, hey, he's a fan of Shredder. He's inspired by Shredder. Well, they're going to fight for the lead, but not for long because a yellow flag multi-car incident on the back straightaway and in turn 3. And we are under the yellow flag. Now Aiden has the lead, though. And for the drivers who just made their stop, this will be great. They can catch up to the back of the grid and will lose even less time. And now we're into the scenario where ideally you want to have already made your stop, because with all these yellow flags piling up, the people who made their stops earlier are losing even less and less track position, actually gaining track position going forward. You don't want to be someone who never stops into this series of yellow, and you don't want to be someone who is the last to stop, who stops under the last yellow in the series. So everyone who's already made their stops now have a significant leg up over several of the other drivers. I think this has basically put Bryant back into being the ideal favorite for winning this race. Now, if he can stretch out 35 lap stints, 35 lap stints, he could definitely make it to the end. And again, with all these yellows, it will make it even easier and easier for him to do so. We're about 74 laps out from the end of this race. So yeah, if we have a lot of yellow, Bryant might be able to go to the end with only two more stops. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry, not 2 more stops, only 1 more stop. Who's going to pit coming to the green flag this time, though? Because that's the counterpoint. If all those guys who pitted end up having to make an extra stop in the last 10 or so laps of the race because they run out of fuel, well, that upsets everything. Ideally, you want to also balance it out and time it well enough that you know that you have the fuel to make it to the end. And Aiden, below the white line, he's making it very clear, hey, I'm pitting. Who else? And no, Aiden does not pit, but Shredder does, SSR does, but SSR made the choice a little bit late. Ludicrous Speed also pitting. That's TJ pitting. About half the field now is coming into pit. And Aiden will lead the field to the green flag with Tactical Fallout and TFB Matter behind him. Tactical Fallout gets a great jump, but not able to pull alongside Aiden yet. He just kind of hangs out behind the Chevy for the moment. OTR popping in the middle of a 3-wide fight back there. That's FCT as well, who's on the outside farther back. Now Tactical Fallout looks to the inside of Aiden. Neck and neck for the lead. Tactical Fallout has only won once in OSRL history, but it was at this track in Season 2. Tactical Fallout dives into the inside. He's around in front of the field. Into the outside wall, but he's saved it. He's gone into it only by himself. Bryant, though, has now filtered out of all this in 6th position as he fights with TMS Derp and Aero Cobry ahead of him. Oh, and Cobry gets knocked sideways, and Bryant's knocked sideways as well, but Bryant's actually going to turn that into a net positive. He's by Derp, and now Derp gets him sideways. He's trying to save it. He runs Cobry almost to the outside line. They're 4 wide in the corner. And now Bryant has to deal with Derp, has to fight back again. FCT races on his inside. They're side by side. 2 guys pulling off ahead of them. Bryant now up into 5th. But stuck on the outside and struggling to navigate his way through this bunch of traffic. Raygun, Apex fighting ahead of him as Bryant continues to fight with FCT. TMS Derp and Aerocomb is right there as well, still causing havoc. Now Bryant on the inside of FCT as they go into 3 and 4 once again. Derp tries to get a run on them but mistimes it. Can't make it stick. Now Bryant slips ahead of FCT. Falls in line behind Raygun. Oh, and FCT just moves Bryant out of the way. Bryant saves it, keeps it out of the wall, hits the outside wall regardless. That will not help him whatsoever. He falls to 8th and now has to fight with the lap traffic of Xebot. Oh, an arrow comes into the inside wall, spins up the field, and is hit by Xebot. Do they stay green? As Apex Blade is currently your race leader. Yep, they're staying green. Raygun versus Zombie right behind them. Nope. Yellow flag is out now, by the sound of it. It was a bit delayed, but yellow flag is out, and the field and everything becomes crazy again. Because almost everyone is on such radically different fuel strategies at this point in the event And that, coupled with the fact that we have drivers who have already pitted, they're now getting their laps back. They'll be able to cycle around to the back of the grid. Some of the drivers who are still on track still need to make a stop. I cannot right now. There are 22 different strategies on track. And while I'm good at keeping track of strategies, I can't keep track of 22 different strategies at once. This is stretching my brain power a little bit beyond what I can actually do. One thing's for certain, though. Apex Blade is leading in that Monster Energy Ford. Fords have been pretty much the dominant manufacturer today. Now we see the pace car rushing to catch the leader. So everyone's going to get back on the lead lap, and drivers who had completed their pit stop under green in those last few laps will be in a good position. They'll be back on the lead lap, caught up to the back of the grid. They're basically going to have a lap over the drivers who need to pit sooner. But this is, if we stay green from now to the end of the race, I don't know if we can stay green, but if we can stay green from now to the end of this race, we're going to have so many people who will be on such radically different strategies, we really won't know who's in the best position to win until, honestly, the last. Now, if we keep getting these short bits of green and then yellow, that's going to change. Everything will eventually even out into everyone being on roughly the same strategy once you get to about 20 to go. Apex Blade. Alright, so FCT Racing, Aero Cobri, I see one other person farther back, are all coming into the pits. Icky 1975 coming down pit lane. Apex, Raygun, leading as they come to the green flag once more. Raygun immediately looks to the inside. OTR Anonymous there in third. Going to try and get Raygun a little bit squirrely to get by him. Raygun's made of slightly tougher stuff than that, though. TMS Derp is there looking to make something happen. Oh, into the outside wall! Hard into the outside wall! Multi-car incident coming to the green flag. Raygun versus Zombie gets turned right into the outside and will fall all the way to 16%, and he is not going to be happy about that one bit. Some guys who will be happy about that, everyone who just made their stops. Will we be going green this time? No, it does not look like it. So we stay another lap under the safety car. Real quickly as we take a look at everyone's fuel. Apex Blade on 69%. Nice. TMS Derp in second. He is running at 76%. Third place is Bryant. He is running on 76% as well. Fourth is Dino Prime 77. He is running on 76% also. SSR in fifth. He is running on 79%. Sixth is TJ. He is running on 78%. Seventh is Uber Nuts, who's been stuck in the back of the grid most of the day, but he is near the front now, 78%. Ludicrous Speed in 8th, he is running with 79%. 9th is Tire Barrier, he is turning with 79% as well. 10th is TFB Matter, he is running with 88%. Exeba is 11th at the moment, he has 84% fuel. 12th is Aiden Man, who pitted not too long ago, he is at 88%. 13th is Prius Killer, he is running with 77%. 14th is Rock Morrow. Rock is running with 76% fuel. OTR Popping is 15th right now. He has 85% fuel. 16th, Raygun versus Zombie. He is running with 73% fuel. As we turn our focus back to the lead of this race, Apex Blade leading the field to the green flag, but he will have to pit sooner than almost everyone else on circuit. Again, it looks like this race is falling into Bryant's hands. Apex really bunching the field up. And we're underway. Dino looks to the inside of Bryant, but can't get alongside him there. TMS Derp just kind of holding ground. Bryant's going to go around the outside of the Ritz car. Now Dino goes to the inside of both of them, 3 wide for that position. Oh, 2 guys into the wall in the back there. And that will be TFB Matter is one of them. He is finally getting back on way. It's a 4 or 5 car incident. And that will likely bring out another yellow flag. So with this in mind, with all these yellow flags, everyone's basically been neutralized onto the exact same strategy, just one more pit stop between now and the end of the race, in theory. Alright, green flag. This is very short yellows. We're preparing to go underway once more. Green flag, Dino, who is now in second, was fighting in second earlier but got knocked to the back of the grid. Now he's got to hold off SSR on the inside. Dino cannot make it stick. He gets hung on the outside to dry. A much slower line on the outside, going through 1 and 2 on the initial lap. The outside line doesn't really come into play until you get to 3 and 4 on the first lap after a restart. But Dino's already lost several positions, falling from second to fourth. Bryant now in second, and looks like once again the race win is going to fall in his hands irregardless of what happens. SSR makes a bit of a mistake there, and is kind of bunching the field up a bit on exit, but not enough to really cause an incident. Single file throughout the entire grid as we take a look now at the lead. Bryant in second. Apex in first. How long can Apex keep Bryant, the dominant car today, behind him? SSR is there in third, ready to capitalize if something goes wrong. But at the front, it's Ford versus Ford. Bryant inside, Apex outside. The 87 has the lead over the 32 for the moment. Also of note though, Apex will have to pit sooner than anyone else on track right now. Side by side. Neck and neck for a position. Bryant runs Apex wide. Apex holding as strong as he can on the outside. He's got a little bit of an arrow push behind him, but it doesn't matter. Bryant goes to the front. TJ is there in fourth behind SSR. Apex falls off completely from Bryant, and now we're likely to see Bryant do another just slow walk away from the rest of the grid here. Question for Bryant, can he make it to the end on only one stop? Because if he can't, that may put a whole different cast of drivers into the seat for winning this race. Otherwise, Bryant, just on sheer pace, is going to outwalk everyone else. TMS Dirt back there in the 5th position, watching them fight ahead, but he's not in a position. And there's a lot of smoke up ahead. That's TJ, who's really spitting a lot of smoke through the corner that time. Holds it alongside SSR. Now TJ goes into 3rd. .446 fastest lap set by your current race leader, as he just kind of like walks away gradually from the rest of the field here. Farther back, this is for 8th position. Lucre Speed holding on to 8th behind Aiden Man with Rockmar on the outside. Oh! That's Stingray around back there! Stingray has already gotten back underway by the looks of it, but that's going to really compromise his race. And your pole sitter just not been able to turn anything around today. Sixth position is Dino Prime at the moment, as he runs behind TMS Derp. He's broken away from this gaggle of cars that Rockmar leads, with Aiden Man on the inside fighting for this position. As we ride on board with Rockmar side by side with Aiden on the inside. Lucas Speed looking to try and make something happen. Raygun is there, Prius is there, Xebot is there as well. A little bit of contact coming out of 4. And now Raygun has a lot more speed. Here comes Lucas Speed. They're 3 wide going into 1. And Lucas gets by all of them, and Rock has to back out of it. Oh, and there's an incident. Multi-car crash. Prius, FCT. A bunch of drivers involved there. Surely that will be a yellow flag. That was basically a half-mile accident there. And yep, yellow flag is out. 50 laps to go. Tire barrier has DNF'd out of the race, sadly. Pace car stays out for another lap. So when we go green, it will be 49 laps to go. Unless we have nothing but yellow going to the end, that's not going to be enough for drivers to make it to the end if they have fuel right now. And even if you were a pit coming to the green flag, it wouldn't be enough. You'd have to pit again. And again, if we get back into a spread out grid where we have some long green runs, we're probably, if we get some long green runs, I think things are still up in the air, but it still looks like Bryant is the dominant driver on track right now and will likely walk off with this win. As we look at his telemetry, 45% fuel. If he can make it to about lap 152, we're anticipating 30 laps, is how far you need to make it on a tank. Might be able to go a little bit longer under green, but 30 laps is what we're shooting for. It's looking for Bryant and almost the entire grid, like everyone's going to make it at a good time. Alright, Bryant leads the field to the green flag once more. Apex Blade is second behind him. Can he fight back against the dominant driver today? Well, as we come to the green flag, the answer is going to be, well, he gets a good jump, but Bryant defends him, and the 2 Fords just kind of pull away from the rest of the field. Apex tries to take an outside line, but that's a slower line in 1 and 2. On the initial restart lap, it takes about half a lap for the outside to properly come into play. Bryant's already got the lead, and it looks like he's already opening a small gap on second place Apex. Ludicrous Speed gets knocked really high up the grid, farther back there. Fine with Dino. Dino trying to climb back up to the grid for the 3rd time today. He finally gets by Ludicrous Speed. Xeba is on the inside, going to try and overtake both of them down the straight. Ludicrous gets by Xebot, and then Xebot gets back by him, exiting 4. Ludicrous has the momentum on exit. He pulls back alongside, gets the nose of that number 20 back ahead of the 88. TJ into the wall farther up, and that's going to kind of have a ripple effect down the grid. That lets TMS Dirt by. It's going to potentially let Dino by. Where does Ludacris fall into it? Dino stuck in a 3-wide fight with Ludacris Speed and TMS Derp. TJ now falls to the inside behind Ludacris. Side by side, Derp and Ludacris for fourth. A little bit of contact. Derp has the position. Ludacris and a train of cars behind him won it. Dino looks to the inside of Ludacris Speed. He's got the inside lane, but does not have the momentum to turn it into anything. Ludacris continues to run side by side with TMS Derp down the straight. TJ stuck side by side with Dino just behind them. Now Ludacris pulls out just ahead of Derp, just barely. As Derp goes to the outside, they're 3 wide for 6. Here comes Xeba. He wants to make it 4 wide for 5th position. Not fast enough, can't find the line. And TJ and Derp wash themselves up into the outside wall, so now Dino goes up high and 2 cars are into the wall farther back. But it looks like they're staying green. Nope, I take that back. Yellow flag out once more. And all of these yellows play in Bryant's hands. No one has been able to beat him on the run down to turn 1. And because of that, he almost always opens up a nice gap on the rest of the field by the end of it. As long as fuel strategy no longer plays a factor, Bryant's going to walk out of here with this race win. Ludacris Speed pulling off, so he's electing to pit now, and Bryant's pitting as well. Now we see SSR, he's coming in as well. So this is it, the great fuel gamble. And all these drivers pitting now will have an advantage against the rest of the field. And for Bryant pitting now, again, if he can make the fuel he gets last the remaining 42 laps of the event, he will win this race, more than likely, on sheer pace alone. If there are yellow flags, he'll be in an even better position. Dino goes immediately to the inside of Apex Blade, and Dino goes right to the lead. TMS Derp is sideways farther back. Can he save it? Yes, he saves it, but someone else is around farther back that looked like it was Rockmaro. 3 cars spinning. And that's it for the race to the end of this event. Bryant is basically going to win. That yellow flag coming right afterwards basically sealed the fate for the rest of the field. Bryant, fastest man on track. As long as the fuel lasts for him to the end of this race, he will naturally filter back up to the top of the grid as everyone ahead has to pit. And that will do it. Betting big for Ludacris Speed and Bryant that there will be enough yellow that they can stretch their current fuel tank out to the end. And with all the stupid restart accidents we've been having, that seems like almost a given at this point. TJ in second at the moment behind Dino Prime. Dino has come back and forth through the grid multiple times today. We'll be going another lap under the yellow, so we'll be going green on lap 144. Does anyone else pit? Apex Blade, it looks like he's deciding to pit. And yes, he does. He'll be joined by Xebot, Tactical Fallout, and several other drivers farther back. The top two, Dino Prime and TJ, will stay in the lead, though, coming to the green flag, but about a quarter, somewhere between a third and a quarter of the field, pitting, coming into the green this time by. And we're off. Dino gets a good jump. Aerocobe actually stuck behind TJ. He looks to the outside, joined by Shredder on the outside now. All these drivers just trying to stay out, keep it clean until they can pit for the final stop of the day. Everyone else who's pitting, the ones who just were in the pits, they're betting that there'll be enough yellow they can stretch their fuel to the end, or that they can run a slow enough pace that they can stretch their fuel to the end. For this group here, though, it's a little bit different. They just want to make it into when they know they're good on fuel. TJ leading Aerocobe on the outside. Aerocobe coming back on the inside lane now. Matter, Shredder fighting for fourth behind them. Shredder dives into the pit lane. So Shredder getting off sequence already. The lead pack is starting to deteriorate into different fuel strats as we speak now. Matter has his chance to do something against TJ and Aerocobe. TJ, Aerocobe side by side, get into each other's quarter pounds just a bit, and it brings Matter right up into play. How does Matter change this fight? That's another driver peeling off of this lead pack. And you can see that second, more spread out group that's on the back straightaway now. That is the group that just pitted, coming to the green flag. So we now have two distinct different packs. Shredder now goes a lap down to this pack. But Shredder betting that he can make it to the end on this bit of fuel now. OTR popping now. It looks like he's coming down into pit lane. This lead group now beginning to spread out just a bit. TJ has stabilized in second spot over Aerocobe. Dino leading at the moment. Dino, TJ, your top two diving into pit lane now. So that gives the lead to Aerocobe at the moment. No, I'm sorry, that's Matter. Matter snuck by Aerocobe, so Aerocobe actually broke to let those guys by, and that meant Matter was able to capitalize and smooth through. Now we see Aiden Man pitting out of the lead group, winner of your second stage today. Aerocobe really pressuring Matter, going through 3 and 4. Cobe goes to the inside of Matter. Side by side nearly. Matter is being very aggressive on defense. Aero being very offensive on offense. Alternate lines going through 1 and 2, and they may have to deal with lap traffic shortly here. That's Dino Prime, who was the leader, coming out just behind them now, and Matter coming into pits now. And all these drivers betting that they won't have to make any more stops with about 33 laps to go. This is going to get really weird because we could see some very good drivers potentially run out. Aerocobe and Stingray are the only ones in the lead group that have not yet pitted. Bryant's pitted somewhat recently. He's already caught up to third. The question, though, does Bryant have the fuel to make it to the end? 74% is going to be close for Bryant. Not saying he can't do it, but will be close. And that's Shredder, who's already pitted. He is on an alternate strategy, so strategies have completely spread out across the entire grid. If we stay green to the end, we will likely see a lot of people making last-minute stops in the last 12 laps of this race, by the way it's going. Now, with that said, if you're in a position that you know you're going to have to pit again, you might just hope that there's a yellow flag, pit under the yellow, coming to the green, and hope that you can make something work there. Bryant, Stingray getting really aggressive with each other for second place, and Bryant moves by Stingray now. As Aero Cove now leads. There's lap traffic, though, between himself and Bryant, and now Cobe comes into the pits. Bryant retakes the lead once more. Strategy is the only way anyone's going to catch him, because right now, Bryant is in a zip code of his own when it comes to pace. Doesn't matter if he's in traffic or clean air. Doesn't matter if it's in a long green run or right on a restart. No one has been able to really beat him all day today. Bryant now closing in on TJ to try and put him a lap down again. TJ just got back on the lead lap due to Aeroco pitting. Bryant wants to get by TJ as quickly as possible. So if he does have to pit, that's one less driver he may have to worry about losing a spot to. Again, Bryant needs to worry about fuel to the end still. Bryant's by TJ now. He begins to barrel down on Dino. Dino might be in a good position as well when it comes to fuel strat, but if Bryant can put him a lap down, it may not matter. Lucas Speed is there in third spot as well. And Stingray, who got pole, has kind of stabilized in second position very nicely, so great job on his part to do so. But as I say that, Ludicrous Speed is there in third, and SSR is back there in fourth, just not too far back from them either. So Ludicrous might try to nick another position from Stingray on the run to the end of this race. As we look at their fuel, 61% for Ludicrous Speed. Stingray, who is in second, he is running with 35%. Stingray absolutely needs to make one more stop. And for Stingray, the sooner the better. We are in the last 30 laps of the event, but I think Stingray is just going to run that tank empty and hope that maybe a yellow flag will come out so he doesn't lose as much track time when he pits. I think he's the only person in this scenario right now, unless SSR in fourth is also in the same headspace. No, SSR is 59%. But SSR also does not look like he's going to have the fuel to make it to the end. What about Apex Blade, who is back there in fifth, 13 seconds behind? He is running with 61%. It's a lot closer for Apex Blade. Sixth is Tactical Fallout, who's another 3 seconds behind, 61%. A lot of drivers, I think, are going to run out of fuel in these closing laps. I don't think this race is over. I think he is going to have a massive knock-on effect here. Dino Prime now has gone a lap down to Bryant, as Ludicrous Speed continues to fight with Stingray farther back there. But lap traffic is really upsetting them. Bryant now no longer has to worry about lap traffic. He can set his own pace for a while. And there are a lot of drivers a lap down. Everyone who's not in the top 11 at this point has been lapped at this point in the event. But again, Bryant on the fuel game, it's very iffy, and it's not looking great for him right now. However, if yellow flags start falling, it's much more likely he will be able to walk out here with the win. But also, if Bryant can keep up this pace, he can actually let off a bit coming into the corners, save just small amounts of fuel. As long as he's ahead of Stingray and Ludicrous Speed, he'll be fine. But that's a bold strategy. So we're going to watch his fuel. How much does he use at about a lap? So he's at 47%. About 46.5 realistically, I think, by the time he came across the line. Again, 21 laps to go right now. It looks to me like he's using about 2.5% of his fuel in a lap. Again, that's a very, very loose estimate. But if he can keep that up, he's going to walk out of here. He'll have just barely enough fuel to make it to the end, and no one else will touch him. A yellow flag would basically lock him in a position where he knows he's good on fuel to the end. A yellow flag basically guarantees Bryant the win unless he chokes on a restart. TMS Stingray is second, 1.1 seconds out, and Stingray was faster over a single lap in qualifying. Can he run down the gap to Bryant? Luker Speed back there in third, 2 seconds out of the leader right now. Less than 20 laps to go. No one else really at risk of going a lap down at the moment. For Bryant, it's just a matter of can he make this tank last to the end. And it's looking more and more likely that's going to be close, but he might be able to do it. He also has a nice gap on Stingray of about 1.2 seconds. If necessary, Bryant can let off a little bit earlier entering the corners to save fuel. He has the pace that he can afford to sacrifice a bit if necessary. $16 laps to go at the line. If he uses exactly 2% a lap, he will make it. In fact, if he uses about 2.05% a lap, he'll make it. If he's using much more than that, though, it's going to be a lot more iffy. He needs a yellow flag to guarantee a win for him. But he is opening up a 1.5 second gap on Stingray. And as long as he holds that gap nice and steady, he'll be in a position to walk off with this win. Top 11 are the only cars on the lead lap, and fuel strategies have kind of gone all over the place at this point in the event as well. .5 second gap and holding steady between first and second. Luker Speed finally breaking out of that pack of lapped cars. Or, I say finally, he's just barely gotten into his head. He's not really broken away from it, so he doesn't have a chance to run down Stingray in second. Stingray coming into pit lane by the looks of it. So Stingray does not feel confident with the fuel he has. This is good news for Bryant. He can let off a little bit more because now the gap between first and second has massively extended in his favor. Ludicrous Speed will inherit second now, but he is way back away from him. This also will put Stingray a lap down to Bryant. Look at that gap. You can barely see the cars near the top 3.5 seconds between first and second. Right now, Bryant might be able to make this stick. It's going to be close. 12 laps to go at the line. 24% left in the tank. It's going to be very close for Bryant. Fuel mileage has become the name of the game. But if there is a yellow flag, I imagine Bryant automatically locks up this race win. Unless he feels that he does not have fuel even with yellow flags. Fastest lap, 29.446 by Bryant, and Bryant's been to 29.4 almost his entire day. He's not really letting off and saving a whole lot of fuel, actually. No, now he is. He's starting to let off a little bit earlier down the straights. But the numbers are not looking good. It will be 10 laps to go at the line. And he's going to be at about 19% when he hits the start-finish line. So as we bring up the player-focused map, Ludicrous Speed is 4.3 seconds out. SSR 7.3 seconds out. They're both trying to make it on fuel. They have slightly different numbers. from what Bryant has right now. Bryant has a 4.3 second gap over Ludacris. He can afford to burn some time and save some fuel if necessary. He's not! He's aborting! Bryant's aborting! He says he does not have the fuel to the end! Now the entire race goes wide open! Who knows who could win now? And this turns the race lead over to Ludacris Speed. Where is he when it comes to fuel? 17%! 16%! With 9 laps to go, it's not looking great for Ludacris Speed either. Bryant still in pit lane, still in third. Now Apex Blade leapfrogs him. A fuel mileage game to the end. Can Ludacris Speed make it to the end on this bunch of fuel? Also of note, when we hit lap 181, we are guaranteed to run the last 2 laps of the race green. Now if we have yellow before that, we are required to run the last lap green under all circumstances. The second to last lap will be run under green under every reasonably possible circumstance. Big pack of cars ahead of Ludacris Speed right now, but he's not fighting with them. Three seconds between Ludacris Speed and SSR. As Dino Prime is trying to get back on the lead lap behind Ludacris right now. At the line. 7 laps to go. Ludacris is at 11% fuel. It's not looking like Ludacris is going to make it either. Ludacris probably betting on some yellow. He's also running very slow laps. He's just trying to hit numbers right now. Dino Prime trying to get by him. We know Dino pitted late enough he can make it to the end, but he would need to make up an entire lap on the current leader. Well, he's just got back on the lead lap right now as I say that. 9% fuel for Ludacris Speed. It's not looking good for him. SSR, who is in second, has 12%. He's looking slightly better. Could SSR back into a win here? Are we under a yellow flag? Yep, yellow flag is out. Well, the fuel mileage game is still up in play, though. But everyone has now been put back onto the lead lap. Fuel, still an issue for several drivers on track. But with this yellow flag, I think we'll see most of them be able to make it to the end. 5 laps to go at the moment. So we'll likely be going green with 2 or 3 laps to go, depending on how long it takes for the field to gather up. Ludacris Speed, worn tires, only 8% left in the tank. Where's the pace car? This is... Brian's been dropped back to 10th. Honestly, I think he could still win this. If it's a 3-lap shootout to the end, and there's an incident at the front, he might still factor into this. Ludacris just completely out of the throttle in some of the corners. He's just fighting to make sure that he has enough fuel to make it to the end of this race. If he runs out on these last few laps, it's gonna hurt. SSR is slightly better off on the fuel game right now. Third place is Apex Blade. Blade is running with 11% fuel, slightly better than both of the drivers ahead. Fourth is OTR Anonyms. He backed into a top 5 at Daytona, and now it's looking like he might back into another top 5 here at Miami. And fifth is Raygun versus Zombie. Raygun, much better tires and easily has the fuel to the end. So this could get really interesting here. Ludacris sticking at 8% fuel. It's going to be close, but it looks like we'll be going green with either 2 or 3 laps to go, depending on how long it takes the field to gather up. And if we all gather up here, we may be going green. If we go green with 3 laps to go, there is a 1-lap possibility for a yellow, and then we'll likely circle around with a 1-lap shootout, a situation that Ludacris has lost races in before. I think Ludacris will have just barely enough fuel to make it to the end. The entire field's gathered up. Everyone's back on the lead lap. Bryant's actually filtered back into 8th, so good job on his part, I guess. Nope. So that's it. We're staying out for 1 more lap. So when we go green, it will be coming on to lap 181. It will be a green-white checkered shootout. Whatever happens is the end of this race. For Ludacris Speed, though, this might work out just well enough. The leader has had a very distinct advantage on the restarts. With 8% fuel, you're not going to burn. Well, he's at 7% fuel. I don't think you're going to burn a full 3% every lap. It's going to be close for Ludacris, but he may have the fuel to make it in. Now the question is, does he have the nerves? Does he have the tires? SSR is second, Apex is third. Tactical Fallout is fourth. Fifth place. Who's fifth? Is TMS Derp. Across the top 5, there are only 3 points-paying victories, although Lucas has two wins in the duels, but there have only been 3 points-paying victories across the top 8 positions, only 3 points-paying victories. This is going to get really, really weird really quickly. All right, green flag coming into the air. 2-lap shootout. Green-white checkered. Can Lucas Speed hold off a horde of drivers with worn tires and barely enough fuel to the end? We're going to find out here shortly. Whatever happens, happens. No yellow flags to the end. Green is out. SSR looks to the inside of Lucas Speed. Lucas blocks the inside. Here comes Apex on the outside of SSR now. Lucas has the top spot. SSR looking to the outside. Apex is right there. Here comes Tactical Fall. SSR trapped on the outside. Apex has a run on Lucas. He's behind the number 20. Coming down into 3 and 4. Lucas has the lead. Side by side for second. Apex Blade has the run. There's smoke farther back. But everyone's kept it together by the looks of it. Neck and neck. White flag. Apex on the inside of Lucas. Side by side. Apex has the lead. Apex leading Lucas, now falling through the grid. He might be out of fuel. Lucas Speed might be out of fuel. Here comes Apex to the line. Checkered flags are in the air. Tactical fallout. TMS start coming with the head of steam on Apex. To the line, out of the final corner. Apex in the Monster Energy Ford is going to take home the victory here at Homestead, Miami. TMS start comes second. Tactical fallout third. Fourth will be Xebot. And after that, it got really, really messy farther back. But Apex Blade is your race winner here at Miami. Just standing by, just trying to catch my breath and my voice back a bit. Alright, and coming into the party right now is our race winner and several other drivers. Alright, first we want to start with our race winner, Apex Blade. Blade, go ahead, include your audio. A fantastic last lap pass on Ludacris Speed, coming all the way from turn 4 down the front straightaway into 1 and 2, and you take home your first win of the season here at Miami. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Dude, I had to work for that one. That was it was just absolute chaos, that race. First of all, just congrats to everyone else for putting on such a great show, because that was probably the hardest I've ever had to work for an oval win there. Yeah, just I knew that, like, 2 cautions prior, it was going to be very tight on fuel, and I saw Bryant pull into the pits. I knew it was going to be extremely tight. I stayed out there. Yeah, that final restart had me scared, because I had no idea whether or not Ludacris and SSR were going to be able to make it on fuel. By the sounds of things, they didn't. I'm shaking right now. That was insane.
Well, an absolutely fantastic turnaround. You led a bunch of laps in the midfield, in the middle parts of the race. The strategies for fuel were so wild at the end, but that final pass overall was probably the most incredible thing I think I've seen outside of the fight between Aiden and Shredder for the Stage 2 win today.
Yeah, that was... I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to make that stake. I knew he was probably going to get the run off the high side. I lucked out coming off of turn 2 with him running out of fuel, so... Feels good. Feels good to get the first win under the belt.
Alright, congratulations. Now, can you repeat this potentially in the next few weeks as we now begin to turn our focus to road course racing?
Well, we'll see how it goes. I know there's quite a few road course specialists in this league, so we'll see how it goes. I know I'm gonna miss a couple races here and there just because of stuff I've got going on IRL, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, congratulations once again, mate. And now we want to turn our focus to our second place finisher, TMS Derp. Derp, great job keeping it together, kind of working your way through the field in that final restart, coming home second in a very solid fashion. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Well, I didn't qualify very well, so started near the back. Made up some positions early, fall back a couple times. Took a risky strategy with that last pit. I knew we were very close on fuel, but that late race caution kind of saved us a little bit, and I just sent it. Let the chips fall where they may. Ended up second.
And letting the chips fall indeed. Second place, outstanding run, mate. Not just that, you had several parts earlier in the event where you were the highest of the TMS drivers and were running in the podium spots earlier on. So it's not like you backed into this out of randomness. You worked your way to the front on merit earlier as well.
Yeah, just small mistakes there, ran into the wall a couple times, but I think we all did well. That was a really good race from everybody. Really exciting. Really looking forward to those courses where hopefully feel a little more comfortable.
All right, well, congratulations, mate, on the second place finish. Second here is some good momentum going into the road courses, so good luck, mate.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to talk to our third place finisher, Tactical Fallout. Tac, you weren't right near the front, but, you know, everything started going kind of chaotic there at the end. You pull out a podium, but your entire race was kind of like that. Walk us through the event from your perspective.
Well, I will say this, I'm pretty sure that I was probably one of the only people to basically pass the field about 8 times this race, just from pit strategies. I mean, I don't know, the bunch front and back today, I mean, I was enjoying it. Definitely was a hard race. Cars were finicky in the draft. You were either turning too much or you were plowing to the wall. So that was a fun one. But, I mean, I don't know, I think my day was pretty okay. I was, honestly, I was really hoping I could have bagged the win and gone, get 3 wins here. But you know what? This track is good to me. I, got 2 wins here before and 3rd place finish. And that's all I can ask for. I'm really happy with this going into the road courses.
All right, well, outstanding job, Tac. Can you carry this momentum through the road courses? That's the real question.
Well, I don't want to jinx it, but this probably will, if I'm going to say it. I don't care. I've noticed that if I'm slow in qualifying, I might actually be fast during the race. So hopefully my common trend of going, of crapping out near the race doesn't happen. It has been a trend of happening lately, but in preseason, it definitely showed that I was doing a lot better. But there were still echoes of that happening. So I hope I can, maybe capitalize really well on a good finish in the road courses. But I know I haven't really been the best.
All right, well, here's hoping that something works out for you. You're in your direction going forward in the season, Tactical Fallout. Now I want to go ahead and turn our focus to the man who's started not on the pole, but realistically was pole position, dominated most of the race, but got sniped out by strategy. Bryant, go ahead and include your audio. It honestly looked like you had enough of a gap. You probably could have just, kind of saved enough fuel to barely cross the line. But in the end, you decided to come down pit. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Hey, it was pretty good. It was definitely not a race I was originally confident about racing in, because I came into this race with absolutely no practice. Honestly, I'll be completely frank, I didn't know we were racing until about an hour till I forgot about it. So, yeah, it just wasn't essentially good. I'm stumbling over words here. It's just, it was a little stretchy.
Well, either way, you led the most laps by far and took home some stage points as well. Just kind of a shame you weren't able to factor into the win, though. Restarting in 8th mid-pack.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was going to make it to the end. I was a couple of percent less on fuel than some of the other front runners coming to the closing laps of that race, and it was, yeah, I knew it was going to be close, so I took the safe route and went for that extra pit stop, and I recovered decently well. I didn't start that well on the restart. I had a crappy launch when we went back to green. I gained a couple spots, but got a little overly aggressive and had some contact with some other drivers and lost some momentum and probably lost a couple of positions because of that.
All right, well, either way, it was a great showing. It's just a shame that your end result won't reflect that. Do you think you can replicate the kind of performance you put on for the first 9% of the race, though, going into the road course races going forward?
That's the plan. I'm definitely more comfortable on the road courses. I definitely show my pace a lot easier on the road courses. Ovals, it's a lot harder to find that extra little bit because it's pretty straightforward concept, and everybody kind of is a lot more consistent on these tracks.
All right, well, that's the word from Bryant. Dominant, but not able to take it home today. Now we also want to talk to Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous, you inherited the lead after Bryant pitted, but fuel numbers were looking really, really iffy for you. Let's just be honest. Did you run out of fuel on that last lap, or is that just a driver mistake?
No, going into turn 4, I sent it a little too hard and went up, but I knew I had the pace to beat him back on the exit of maybe turn 2. But I just got a very awkward shove from MVP from behind that set me up high and just lost all of that pace. And it was I don't know who caused it, but it was a stupid shove. And it was a gamble that was a quarter or 3/4 of a lap from paying off. So, I mean, all I can say is it's race 2, and I got 7 road courses to make it up.
All right, well, if they stayed green to the end of the race, do you think you would have been able to make it to the end? You had about 3.5 seconds over second position before the yellow came out.
I feel like I might have been able to save all the way to the end. I mean, I was half throttling all the way around, kind of just doing math in my head as I went. He probably would have been up my ass, but I feel like I might have been able to save enough to get all the way to the end. I had a good couple of cars to tow me along, so... I mean, it is what it is. It's a shitty result. We got a torn up car now, so we'll see what happens as the season goes on. I mean, it's only race 2. We got a lot of time left.
All right, well, that's the word from Ludicrous Speed. Near the front, leading at the white flag, not even a top 5 at the end. Now we want to go ahead and turn our focus to Raygun versus Zombie. Raygun, you led a few laps early on. We're actually looking like a strong top 5 finisher. In the end, though, not quite as high up as it was looking. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Well, starting from the rear, due to the penalties I got from Daytona, was kind of an uphill climb, but I was getting into the groove on the first run, and then the pits happened, and I cycled not really good. But I'm going to be honest, some people need to learn how to arrow push someone into the corners, because I was arrow pushed from the lead, out of the top 5, and everywhere else I've been arrow pushed, and it was just like, I don't know, it's like some people just need to learn how to do oval racing before they enter in, honestly.
All right, well, we're leaving the ovals where we know that you have a lot of pace. You're going into the road courses where you've been showing pace recently. Do you think you can string together enough good finishes to contend for the title still, even after your finish here?
Hopefully, honestly, because most of these drivers are from road course racing, and I know they can be good, but hopefully I can stick around them and maybe get some top 10s, maybe some top 5s.
All right, well, either way, you're able to bring it home, and good job on bagging the few stage points you got as well.
Thank you.
All right, I also want to go ahead and turn our focus to Prius Killer 8110. Prius, interesting race. You were in the back in the midfield a lot of the time, and it just didn't really ever go your way at any point. Walk us through the event from your perspective.
Didn't I call it last week that I was going to get screwed this week? Entered turn 3.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
So enter turn 3, 5th. Stingray, he gets underneath me, which fair enough. He thinks he's clear, but he barely isn't. Forza Lock decides, no, we're both going in the wall. The wall decides you're going to 30 miles an hour. And by the time I do it, I'm finishing 18th.
Alright. Yeah, so 2 very rough ends. 2 very rough finishes to start the season off for you. Lots of road courses ahead. Do you think that, maybe a more technical kind of track will benefit you going forward and benefit your race finishing positions going forward?
I feel like it might benefit me more compared to other people. Then there would be the others that might not be good at ovals, but they're going to beat me at the road courses. But still, I'm going to get screwed out of a good finish if there's a late race costing.
Alright, well, sadly didn't go your way again, though. Hopefully you're able to turn things around, though. Same to see it went this way. Alright, well now I want to go ahead and turn our focus to SRD Shredder. Shredder, you led the points coming into this race, barely missed out on winning the second stage, and in the end you were kind of nowhere. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
There we go. Throughout the entire thing, my pit strategy was based just purely on green flag running, and for the first 2 or 3, I actually came out really good positions, but going into the 4th one, there was that caution that was dead on it, but it was 2 laps before it, so I didn't pit then, just so if we did go green, I could definitely finish. Just about got it in on lap 145, past the matter into there, and then from that point on I was hoping, because if it went green the entire way, I was either going to win or have a minimum of a top 5 finish. That was down facts. But then we had that yellow with about 3 to go or something, and I was about 12th or something at the restart or so. So we did the restart, whatever. Did okay roughly on 181. Then 180, last one came on 182. Got on the inside of the rock going into 1, sort of stuck it there a little bit. Going into 3, my brain decided to take the outside line manoeuvre while I was down on the inside, twonked it up into his rear end and just drifted around the entirety of the corner, then got smogged by someone coming in from behind and finished 18th or 19th, I think it was.
Alright, so basically a complete inverse. So your fortunes at Daytona, but now we head to the road courses where historically you're relatively strong on. Do you think that with all the points you earned last week, the stage points here, you can kind of hold on to a title berth going forward?
Potentially. I mean, Watkins is coming up next, and I've never been really that strong. But well, actually, depending on sort of the series, actually. So it's a half and half and stuff. Whether I can keep some the rain there. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Kota, it's potential. And stuff, and then we got the Goon and all that stuff after that, which I should be better at then. So it's probably sort of mid-season, maybe coming back.
Alright, well, Daytona 350 winner, not able to go back-to-back on the ovals, though, this season. So, and that will pretty much wrap up our broadcast here at the NAPA 270. Was it 270? I already forgot the exact mileage number. That was a very interesting and very incredible race to say, from start to finish, looking like a fuel run to the end. I did not see, sadly, what happened to cause the yellow flag at the very end there. It just kind of occurred wherever it was. So I was honestly hoping to see what it would be like to the end, because, yeah, Shredder, you weren't the only one. There were about 3 or 4 other people who were absolutely flying because they knew they were good on fuel, or just close enough that they could make it, and it looked like the entire field was going to kind of do a weird accordion on the last lap. Anyways, I've been your host for today's broadcast, Insane Layer 13. Next week, the series will be going to its first road course of the Points Pain season at Watkins Glen. Until that time, stay safe. I'll see you all later.